Travis here with Blue Door. Welcome to Lead Connect for Sierra Interactive. This intro training is designed to walk you through the entire system from start to finish. We're going to cover statuses, alerts, filters, and tags. More importantly, we'll cover how they work together and what you're expected to do with them each day. So you also have access to this playbook as well as shorter videos that go deeper into specific segments of the system. So if you ever need a quick refresher, by the end of this walkthrough, you'll understand how leads move through the system, what every status means, and exactly what to focus on when you log into your Sierra each day. So let's get started with the foundation. All right, before we break down individual statuses, let's talk about the purpose of the status system. Every status in Lead Connect answers one question: who owns the next move? To make that easier to understand, we've grouped our statuses into three categories. Agent managed. This includes our active and our prime. These are leads that require direct human engagement. The system can provide alerts and visibility, but follow-up belongs to the agent, 100% agent managed. This is where the conversations, appointments, and conversions are going to happen. System managed. This is our new, qualify, and our watch. These are leads that the system is actively nurturing and monitoring for engagement. Automation is driving the follow-up while behavioral activity is being tracked in the background. Your job is to pay attention so that when the system surfaces an opportunity, you can take action. Organizational. These statuses help organize contacts outside of the active lead conversion process. This includes our pending, closed, archived, blocked, junk, and good old do not contact. Some of these contacts still require relationship management, while others simply keep the database organized and accurate. If you remember nothing else from this section, remember this: every status exists to identify who's responsible for the next move. So now let's take a look at the individual statuses and what they mean. How do I organize my leads? What status do they belong in? These are the questions we get asked most often. So we're going to dive into some definitions, and we're going to start with our agent statuses. Now, active is a temporary handoff status. This means two-way conversation is happening. You've taken over. You now own the follow-up. You're responsible for setting the next steps for the lead. Active is where the decisions happen. It's not where the lead's going to end up staying. Prime is where we put our current clients and those leads that we expect to transact within the next 90 days or so. So this is for our hot leads. Leads prime, right? This should be among your top priorities each day while you're working in the CRM. Engagement statuses, right? Our new, qualify, and watch. New leads are within their first 30 days of being in the CRM, so newly registered or possibly manually added there. During this, what we call priority period, automations and behavioral tracking, all working together to identify and create opportunities for you to follow up. Qualifying, these are for our unresponsive, right? Leads that we have not been able to successfully connect with. Again, system will continue outreach while monitoring engagement. And again, looking for those opportunities to surface them for manual engagement. Now, watch is for our long-term nurturers. So we call it the relationship status here. So these are people that we have made contact with, but their time frame to buy or sell is in the future, right? Anything from 3 to 6 months, not sure, window shopper, just browsing. System is continuing follow-up while monitoring for behavior and looking for engagement opportunities as well. Transactional and system statuses. Archived. Archived is where we put our past clients, our sphere, vendors, other realtors, general contacts, friends, family, neighbors, stuff like that. There's no automation triggered in the archive status, so that's 100% managed by you. Junk's for our bad data, right? Our fake phone numbers, our fake names, duplicates, bots, robots, that kind of stuff. Junk removes it from any kind of automation. Do not contact, right? So these are the people that have explicitly requested that we no longer connect with them. Could have been verbally or done through opting out. Closed, don't really have to explain that one too much to you guys, right? But closed is for our completed. Same thing with pending. Pending is for clients that are under contract or actively involved with the contract. These 5 total transaction statuses, right? None of these trigger automations. They're there for organization of the database and they help feed revenue reports, stuff like that. All right, now that we've covered what each status means, let's look at how leads actually move through the system. Starting with our first system managed status, new. Right? So new is what we call our priority follow-up window. The goal of the new status is to get the conversation started. We've got the action plans applied, so automated emails and text messages going out. You on the agent side, right? We're making phone calls. It's a race to the conversation. Now, if we're unable to make contact in the first 30 days, the system is going to move that lead into qualify. So now we're in that unresponsive territory. When it moves into qualify, it's also going to assign a new action plan to that lead. So we're going to keep that communication going. Now, at this point, the lead will stay in qualify until contact is made or they unsubscribe, whatever comes first at that point. Now, when a lead responds while in new or qualify, so that could be a response to an email, a response to a text, or we log a call as talk to lead, the system is going to kick off what we call the agent handoff and move that lead into the active status. Active is the handoff point from automation to agent. And as I mentioned earlier, this is where the qualifying decisions happen. The key takeaway is active is temporary here. Every lead eventually passes through active, but the goal is to move them into appropriate status based off the conversation. Now, once the conversation takes place, the lead typically moves into one of four paths: junk, do not contact, watch, or prime. If they're planning to buy or sell soon, or they're a hot lead, we're going to move them into prime. If they're a future opportunity, right, we're going to move them to watch. Long-term nurture is going to kick in. If they're not a legitimate lead, a junk lead, status accordingly. Now, if they're a do not contact, right, hey, stop messaging me, stop calling me, right, we're going to move them into do not contact. So the takeaway here is that once we hit active, we've got four options: junk, do not contact, watch, or prime. So from here, the decision is system managed into watch or agent managed into prime. The first 30 days of a lead being in your CRM, like I mentioned earlier, is what we highlight as the 30-day priority window here. During this period, there are several layers working together. First, during days 1 through 7, the lead appears in our PLA new filter. These are our highest priority opportunities because they're brand new and engagement is often at its highest here. Then from days 8 through 30, the lead remains in new and continues through the new Connect workflow. Throughout the entire 30-day period, we've got automated emails and text messages being sent while behavioral activity is being tracked as well. Every listing alert, website visit, property view, saved listing, and engagement signals help surface opportunities for you to follow up with manually. The important thing to remember is that the system handles consistency, but the agent handles follow through. The goal isn't to let automation do all the work here. The goal is to create opportunities for conversation. If no contact is made after 30 days, the lead automatically moves into qualify, where that unresponsive workflow we mentioned above takes over. The key takeaway here: the system creates the opportunities, you create the conversations. All right, now we're going to dive into our watch workflow here, right? So we've made contact with the lead, they're in active status, but they're not ready yet. So the next step, long-term nurture. Watch is where our future opportunities live. One of the biggest mistakes we can make is treating watch like a parking lot. It's not. Watch is an active nurture status designed to build relationships until timing changes. To do that, every watch lead should have a time frame tag. We have 4 time frame based workflows: 3 to 6 months, 6 to 12 months, 12 plus months, and then no time frame. Each time frame has its own communication cadence, behavioral monitoring, and priority alert strategy. The goal is to stay connected without over-engaging or under-engaging. We don't want to treat a 12 plus month lead like they're dying next month, and we don't want a 3 to 6 month lead slipping through the cracks because we weren't paying attention here. So once the time frame tag is applied, the system takes over, communication continues automatically, engagement is monitored, and opportunities are surfaced when behavior indicates some type of interest. So the key takeaway for our watch or our watch workflow is watch is not a parking lot. It's a crock pot, right? The goal is to build the relationship today so you're in the right position when they're ready. All right, now we're going to review priority lead alerts. So one of the things that makes Lead Connect different is that it's a behavioral-based system, right? So thanks to Sierra Interactive's automations, plug, we are able to track a lead's activity at a very high level so that we're not just having to look at a lead status, right? We're paying attention to how that lead is utilizing your website or engaging with your content so that when a lead takes certain actions, such as returning to the site after an extended period of time, viewing a single listing multiple times, saving properties, or engaging with the e-alerts or market reports that we're sending them, allows the system to create an opportunity for follow-up. Now, for system managed and agent managed statuses, those behaviors trigger a priority lead alert. But now the system is going to handle those priority lead alerts differently depending on the status. Now, when a lead is in new, qualify, or watch, right, our engagement statuses or our system managed statuses, right, two things are going to happen. First thing it's going to do is going to assign what we call a PLA task. So it's going to surface that lead in a smart filter for you so that you can, attempt to make contact. The second thing it's going to do, it's going to trigger our auto engagement. So our auto engagement is a single email, single text message that is relevant to the lead's activity, right? So if they saved a property, the content of the message is relevant to saving a property. That way we can take advantage of that window of opportunity we have with the lead to engage with the lead while they're active, right? So now it doesn't guarantee a response rate, but it definitely increases the likelihood of. So now, tracking our priority lead alerts, right, and paying attention to our smart filters, which we'll get to in a second here, helps to ensure we don't miss out on those opportunities. Now, when a lead is in a prime or an active, right, so we're looking at our agent managed statuses, the process is going to be a little bit different. So since the agent basically, you own the relationship there, the system is not going to send any automated messages. But what it will do, it's going to create a task, right? So we want to make sure you know about the activity. But from there, you can decide what the best next step is. It's also going to provide a little note for you too and let you know what that recent activity was. You returned to site after 15 days or viewed a single listing 3 times or more. That way, when you're going to connect with that lead, you have something to work off of. Now, the priority lead alerts work a little bit differently when it comes to the watch status. So now every watch lead should have a time frame tag applied. And that time frame determines how sensitive the alerting and follow-up should be, right? So a lead planning to buy in the next 3 to 6 months should be treated differently than someone who may not move for another 2 years, right? So here's the key takeaway with our priority lead alerts, right? Behavior drives priority. The system is constantly looking for opportunities, but it's your job to turn those opportunities into conversations. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at how all of that shows up in your daily workflow. Up to this point, we've talked about statuses, lead flow, timeframes, and our priority lead alerts. Now we're going to cover how all of that ties into your day-to-day workflow. One of the biggest goals of Lead Connect is eliminating guesswork. You shouldn't have to log into Sierra and decide who to call first. The system has already done that for you. This is how we run the day. Every day, you're going to work the same 7 filters in the same order. The reason the order matters is because the filters are prioritized based on opportunity and engagement. PLA new leads within the last 7 days. This is a daily call task filter. PLA active, these are our new, qualify, and watch status leads showing high intent behavior. Conversations, active status leads where time frame and next steps are still being determined. Nudge needed, active conversations needing a little nudge. New connect, new leads still within the 30-day priority window with a call task every 3 days. Qualify engage, these are our unresponsive leads with recent site visits. Watch nurture, watch status leads being monitored and nurtured, call task every 30 days. The key takeaway is that the system has already decided what to work first. Your job isn't to figure out who needs attention. Filters are not organized by status, they are organized by priority. Your job is to work the opportunities the system surfaces. Beyond your daily workflow, we also have accountability filters. Prime check. These are our prime leads who we have not contacted in 7 days or more. Needs action plan, system managed leads not currently signed an action plan. Needs e-alert. These are our buyer leads who are not currently signed an e-alert or a property alert. And then we've got our needs market report. These are our seller leads not currently signed a market report. These are not daily call lists. These are health checks that help you ensure that all leads are accounted for and nothing is slipping through the cracks. We also have our relationship filters for past clients and Sphere. These help make sure your most valuable relationships stay visible long after the initial transaction. The system organizes the work, the filters surface the opportunities. Your job is to take action. Next, last piece of the puzzle, we're going to jump into tags. The last piece of the system is tags. So statuses tell the system who's responsible for follow-up. Our filters, they're going to surface the opportunities. Tags tell the system what to do next. Every tag falls into one of two categories: classification and routing, or workflow triggers. Classification tags help organize the lead and place them in the correct workflow, while workflow trigger tags are used when something changes and we need to move the lead into a specific process. Starting with our classification and routing, past client, previous client relationships that should move into a long-term relationship follow-up. SOI, these are our personal and professional relationships that may generate future business or referrals. Renter, leads currently renting or have expressed they would want to rent and are assigned a renter-specific workflow. Timeframes, we use our timeframe tags to classify future opportunities and place watch leads into the correct nurture path. Call plans, used to create recurring follow-up, schedules based on relationship type or our contact goals. Then we have our workflow triggers, right? Workflow triggers are used when something changes in the conversation. Instead of manually figuring out what to do next, we apply the appropriate tag and let the system take over from there. Reactivate. Reactivate is going to help us re-engage cold or inactive leads and place them into a reactivation workflow. Ghosted. We use ghosted when a lead in active status stops responding while we're still working to identify time frame or determine the next steps. Assigning the tag moves the lead into a long-term follow-up workflow designed to re-engage, nudge the conversation, and get them back into that active status for you. Has agent. We use this when a lead is already working with another agent. Assigning the tag moves the lead into a low-frequency follow-up, nothing crazy, designed to stay connected and hopefully create future opportunities. Already bought, right? When someone responds, already bought. We use this when a lead has already purchased a home. Assigning the tag. Already bought is used when a lead has already purchased a home. We see this quite a bit when we're reactivating. Assigning the tag stops the buyer-focused follow-up and moves the lead into a workflow designed to hopefully identify a future seller opportunity and offer a market report or some type of future follow-up. The key takeaway is that tags do more than just label the contacts. They change workflows, they apply automation, they also determine what happens next. Apply the correct tag and the system's going to handle the rest. All right, as we close things out, right, we want to look at the system organizes follow-up, surfaces engagement, and tells you what to work next. So as you start using the system, focus on two things, right? Every day we want to work our daily filters. That's our run the day sequence that we covered earlier. That's where your opportunities live and where most of your day-to-day activity should be happening, okay? We also want to review our accountability filters at minimum weekly, right? This helps ensure leads have, we've got the right action plans applied when needed. We've got property alerts or market reports running on people that qualify for. Nurturing tools are in place, right? So just so nothing slips through the cracks on us. And keep in mind, the goal isn't to memorize every status tag and filter. I mean, we do want to make sure we get familiar with the statuses and those definitions. But the goal is to trust the process, right? We want to keep the leads moving through and ultimately just let the system do what it was designed to do. So the overview here was designed to give you a big picture, general Blue Door 101. We also have additional training videos that go deeper into individual topics like our statuses, the definitions, the tag workflows, watch workflow, our run the day smart filters, and all of our daily executions inside Sierra Interactive. So if you're looking for more detail on specific parts of the system, those module videos are going to be the best place to start. So, and if you ever need help, we're here, right? Me and my team, you can reach out to support@bluedoor.co. And someone will be happy to help you. So, but appreciate everybody being a part of the Blue Door community, and we'll see you guys on the next training.